2020 was my first year in CTWC. I was the first one to play. I was really happy, but I did not do that good. That next year in 2021, a lot of things changed. Right before CTWC that year, GameScout and Sharky made a video called CTWC 2021 predictions. And it was basically predictions for every bracket. It was 64 players, 8 players in each bracket, and who would do the best. When I was able to make that upset twice in the winners bracket and then the fractal loser bracket, I made sure to call out Scout saying, you didn't call me out. You didn't think I was gonna make the bracket. You didn't think I was gonna win, make it top 8. But here I am.
Oh no. Oh no. Is this it here? Can this do it for Tetris time? Or can Fractal survive at this blistering speed? Okay. Drops in there. Still get no.
I think that's it.
That might do it. That might do it right there.
Oh,
No,
that's it.
and
Tetris
Fractal
time moves on, James.
Tetris time will be part of the November 8. And there you see the, oh man, again, it's so hard to be happy for that excitement when you see just the complete 180 of emotions on the other side of the screen.
You're right. Tetris Time has been playing this game for quite a while. I think he took up rolling fairly recently, and he's still crushing it with it. He has some experience. Definitely has experience against me. I would like to see him make a deep run.
Fractal was a different. He was a monster than the following year, 2022. Him and Eric ICX in the finals. That was nothing compared to what he could do the year before. October 2023, that's when it was. I hadn't even touched rolling. Every now and then, from then up to January, I just picked it up and I just tried to roll. The 4 and 5 tap actually felt really nice. But I didn't know how to rotate at the same time, play on 29. And I was able to practice a lot and just get better every day, just slowly and got myself into a bit of a, better state. But for some reason, when I did 18, I don't know why, I would always double flip. So then I said, okay, let's try to do something that people have done before, but in a different way. Let's play hybrid, but let's bring the table out and let's roll switch from the table. Sometimes it doesn't work out because you need to be in a very safe board to do it. But I was able to figure it out. So coming into that 2024 season, it was in Cali, it was in Pasadena. It was definitely a different feel, and I definitely felt like I was underlooked that year. Like the week before, I got my first 1.4 going into that. Before then, my PB was barely 1.3 when I had tap. I had an unfortunate seeding going in round 0 versus Pixel Andy, who, I don't know if you recall, Pixel Andy had a injury to his hand at the time. But of course, that Saturday he was able to not be injured, magically when he went against me, and he was able to knock me down 3-0. But when that time came to do the roll switch, I just did the same thing as I would. I made sure to have be at least 6 feet away from the TV to make sure that I wouldn't knock any of the very expensive equipment down. And then I was able to just, as soon as I got that Tetris, pick it up, roll switch, and the cameraman was ready.
Burns here, some extra line. Oh no, he would. Okay.
Recovers from that misdrop. He's going to be grip switching at some point. He might have already done so.
Okay, great pieces right there for Tetris time. Great pieces.
Oh, and
Tetris.
there we go. We saw the grip switch. That was so fast. That was
nice.
incredible.
Great job to the production crew catching that on film right there. That was awesome.
That was a great shot, and I'm glad he was able to, the camera crew was able to catch it. I knew going into 2024, even when I first started rolling back in January, I wasn't going to do amazing. 6 months was not enough time to, get amazing at rolling to the point to where I could be a top contender. Rolling's really hard. Some people take years. 2-3 years maybe to even master getting Tetrises on 29 consistently. 2025, it was definitely a learning experience. I call it the rise and fall. I got PBs, crazy. I went from 1.4, I got a 1.5. I was able to start getting consistent 29 play. CTM was getting ready to do a change of 16 players to a 32 round 0, round 1. I would start losing simply because I would go for the craziest Tetris, and then I would just not get it. And then I would lose because I top it on 30, and my player who, even though they're behind or maybe they're ahead, they can play more 29 up to 39. When Vandy made that change with the 32 seed, I was definitely in a fall era in that, I'll say December. I lost to Neko in a win or die situation, but I made a comment on that video saying, I'm in a fall right now, but we're going to try to get back from this. Going into that March, I had to buy all the travel stuff for going to Washington. And then afterwards, I was like, hey, you know what? Phoenix is around the same price. It's the week after. Ninja's going. Oscar's going. Tony Hawk's going. Let's do it. Going into Washington, that weekend coming up, it was pretty fun. I was able to meet Ninja, meet friends, meet new people, meet the Prodigy Row who was there. I had the mentality of winning, but at the same time, that regional didn't have too many top players. I was the top player, if you want to call me that. Every single person that I went against had a higher score in a match against me than their qualifying score. It was a fun match going against Biggie. Biggie was like a dash roller. Biggie won it last year, 2024, was the champion. Biggie might got a max out. Not in quals, but in the match against me. And was able to get some kill screen play. I didn't get a clean sweep. I won 3-1. But that was a fun one. And the Prodigy's row, which that kid he's crazy. He has a lot of energy. In terms of my preparation going into Phoenix, that was definitely more challenging. This year wasn't Blue Scooty going, unfortunately, although that would have been fun. But instead, one of the top players was Oscar and Kirby, and most importantly, DMJ. The week before, DMJ wasn't on the attendance list, so I was like, "Oh, cool, clean sweep for me." And then DMJ writes his name, and it's just like, huh, 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 huh. And I was like, "Okay, this is not gonna be a clean sweep. We gotta like lock in now." That finals, you could definitely feel a bit of an atmosphere. I just remember sitting next to DMJ, and we were both just like, "All right, well, this is the finals." Chris Tang's there, the crowd's here. LED panel 4K is here. We had an interesting setup. There's 4 CRTs on the table, and the CRT on the left side displays his game, and he's directly across from me. So I see my TV in the front, and on the left, they like turned it a bit, is a CRT that shows his gameplay. It was like a online match, but in person. So it was like definitely a weird atmosphere. As soon as the final started, you could definitely feel how everybody, even people in the crowd, were nervous. I could tell that my consistency was going to help me in the long run, and that's what I did. I pushed through. Game 1, I was able to win by a large margin, and it was down to game 3 when DMJ topped out. I think like I don't even remember the score. It was like 1.1 million, and I was like 14 high on a 29 board, and that board looked like it was done. It looked like it was over. DMJ was going to take the next game, and then it was going to go 2-1 reverse sweep start. But then I just calmed down and then just rolled my controller so hard that I would get out of that dig, and somehow being like really high that it looks like it's over. It's something you could even fathom, like 5 years ago. I was able to burn it all the way down, and I was able to complete the chase down and sweep DMJ in the finals.
In better condition, DMJ is in trouble. Needs to get a left 5-tap. No long bar. Oh no, DMJ hanging that. And a slight chase down for Tetris time.
1,084,000.
Will the sweep continue? That's what's on the line here.
He can line this out, maybe.
60,000 points.
It's roughly 1,000 points for single line, so you gotta mix in multi-scores.
Looks like he's able to dig back down.
0.10 Tetrises to go.
Almost. Wow.
There it is.
Boom. Single for Tetris time and the second regional in a row.
I flew back, was able to get ready for Vegas, set that one up. That was also a different atmosphere because we had to, now I had the stress of setting up the tournament. We were setting up as we were going. But once the tournament started, it went great. Going into the finals against Kirby, who was on the rise, I was able to just have the same mentality as Phoenix. Stay consistent, don't let nerves get to me. Game 3, Kirby topped out, and then I just had one more chase down to win back-to-back regionals. And then I was able to take that chase down, and then it all sunk in that I won back-to-back regionals. This year, being more of a contender, winning back-to-back regionals, making the runs I have in, CTM Masters, and now making my way back to Division 1 CTL. I don't want to lose in round 0. If I could somehow get a top 16 and avoid round 0, that would also be great. Obviously, top 8 is such a hard feat. I think it's possible if I can play as great as I possibly can. And I think that would definitely, be great to say, hey, I was able to make it up here once again in 2021 wasn't a fluke.